Assalamu alaikum everybody. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Chimi Q and welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay guys, so listen, out of all the videos that I've done in regards to, the new thought movement in Islam, whether it's law of attraction, manifestation, this by far, guys, this topic is by far the one I've done the most research on because I feel like it's a never-ending hole, guys. You open one amount of information or you learn one thing and like there's 30,000 things that go with it. So there's just so much to learn, guys. I have so much to say. This topic is super interesting and I really can't wait to share with you guys what I learned. And before I go into it, guys, listen, I know my videos are long. A few of you guys have made that known. Your videos are long, Chimmy. Make shorter videos. Listen, guys, I'm going to try to not make it, of course, like an hour long. But this video, I'm gonna try to tell you guys a lot about this topic. So please, I know it might be long, but listen, it's going to be worth it, okay? Because there's just so many things to know. And just, as a side note, as I think I mentioned in other videos, like when you're trying to implement something into the deen, guys, 30-minute videos, even an hour video talking about it in Islam, that is not enough, okay? You're going to need to do research. You're going to have to do research upon research so you know that what you're doing is in accordance with Islam. If not, it's going out the window. But regardless, it all requires a decent amount of time of research. Okay, guys? A few of you guys have requested me to make a video in regards to reality shifting in Islam. Can you do this as a Muslim? Like what is reality shifting? So I'm gonna get all into that, okay? And this is definitely something that has become very, very, very popular within the last couple of months, I'd say, because of TikTok. These TikTok kids, let me not say kids, actually no, they are kids. I mean, even though I'm 2-3 years older than them. Listen, TikTok in general has really taken this topic by storm. And I think just in general, a lot of people who are learning about reality shifting, they got the idea mainly from TikTok, unless, you were really deep into the law of attraction stuff. And then of course you've probably seen it through that end as well. So there's just so much that goes into it, guys. I'm telling you, get ready, okay? Get popcorn or whatever, or play this video, play my voice in the background. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So what is reality shifting? Reality shifting, in very simple terms, is a way to move your conscious mind from your current reality to your desired reality, okay? So let's say my consciousness is here in this world, on this earth, and I'm seeking something a little bit more than what I already have here. So it's a way for me to move my actual conscious mind into another reality and be conscious in that reality, whether it's another world or, another realm. That's basically what you're doing in the process. And a lot of people do believe that you can move your conscious mind, like your actual conscious mind could be moved into different realities, into your preferred reality or just another world, let's say, or another dimension. We'll talk about that later on. And other people believe it to be like lucid dreaming. So it's either or. I think a lot of the times though, with these trends, especially on TikTok, majority of them, I'd say, if not all, they're literally attempting to move their conscious mind into another space, so in another world. Now, through the research that I've done, along with just watching a lot of other videos and along with what I knew already from when I was, I kind of a little bit was into this stuff. Let me not say a little bit. I never did to this extent that I'm going to tell you guys, but, I was, aware of a few things. So from all of this, right, I gathered that there are two types of people who want to reality shift or who want to kind of move their conscious mind. There's the one group of people who believe that, and this has to do a lot with the, multiverse theory, but they believe that essentially they can move or they can bring whatever preferred consciousness, whatever preferred life that they want into their world right now. And then the second group of people, and I'd say the majority of people who even do this whole or believe in the entire reality shifting, I would say that this group believes that you can consciously be in another place. So if anything, one group is saying they're going to bring this preferred lifestyle into their reality, and then another group is saying that they want to be put in another reality, they want their consciousness to be put in another reality. Now, before explaining anything any further, I really do want to go into the history of reality shifting, dimensional jumping, and I really do think that history is such a important component to learn whenever you're even thinking about anything within the New Thought movement, because a lot of the times when you find the root of how something is formed, it really helps you understand a lot better what it is and what it manifested into. And guys, by the way, I've spent so much time on this topic, especially when trying to find the origin of reality shifting, to be very specific, and I was very frustrated because it was super hard to get to the bottom of how this even started. You do find that there are a lot of people on TikTok who made this popular, but even before TikTok, I was familiar with the entire reality shifting concept just from, a few people on YouTube that are a part of the New Thought movement. And then there were a lot of Reddit pages that were created back in 2014, to 2016 in regards to this specifically. But the farthest back I can go when you're trying to find a link of reality shifting from Reddit or on YouTube, just anywhere you could find information about reality shifting, a lot of them do quote work and are getting a lot of the ideas from a man by the name of Neville Goddard. And he is one of the, the people who started making law of attraction very popular, just the New Thought movement in general, law of attraction, manifestation. He's up there along with, Bob Proctor and, these people who really did a lot of work in regards to spreading the word of law of attraction. They were very popular in that sense. Neville Goddard, I was actually very familiar with his work. He does have a lot of tapes on YouTube, and subhanAllah, guys, I used to listen to this guy, okay? I used to listen to a lot of his videos, and I thought, oh, wow, it's amazing. So I'm not going to get too much in the history of Neville Goddard, but he was born in the 1900s. I believe it was 1905 in February, and, he was one of the people, of course, in the beginning who started spreading the word of law of attraction. And later on, he did become the author of many popular books, of course, talking about law of attraction. So it would be, of course, in the form of self-help books. But then those self-help books would also be mixed with mysticism a lot of the time. So that is where a lot of people, whenever you see someone talking about reality shifting or just, the whole thing about living somewhere else consciously or, just these type of thought processes, a lot of it has to do with his work and his books. And a lot of other people as well. For example, Abraham Hicks. There's so many people, guys. And when you read into their history, it's very interesting, to say the least, okay? And just a tip whenever you're researching something, especially, within the New Thought movement, it's very, I would consider it a red flag when you're researching something and it's very hard to find the root of how it came about. And I'm not just saying this in terms of, trying to ascribe things to Islam, but, just in general, when you learn about something, you want its history roots to be very firm. You don't want it to be very complicated to find and super hard to find and nothing is consistent. It is a bit questionable when you can't really find the source of what they're even talking about to begin with. Like, how reputable are your sources? How reputable is whatever, you're taking in and adding in addition to whatever you believe? If you are adding anything, it has to be pretty strong. It has to be very strong in order for you to actually implement it and mark it down as 100%, like loud, like there's no doubt about it. But if it's something just up in the air and, oh, he said this, that's why it's true. Like, okay, who is this person specifically? Who is Neville Goddard? One very interesting fact about him, I have to say, is that Neville Goddard, if you look into his, biography and just you read his books in general, Neville Goddard does not really believe in an actual God, other than you being the creator. So that's one of the things that, I spoke about when talking about manifestation, subliminals, and law of attraction. It just focuses mainly on you being the creator. And Neville Goddard makes it very specific that it's not really much about God as in another force giving you what you want, but it's all about you, and it's about you being the creator. So in a sense, it's about you being your own God. So now going back to the part that is probably the most confusing and interesting part about this entire thing is, in order for you to reality shift, in order for you to change your reality, there has to then be a lot of universes. There has to then be a lot of worlds, okay? So that brings in, the entire concept of a parallel universe. Now, before getting deeper, and guys, this is really interesting. So, I mean, whether you believe this or not, it is pretty interesting to see these theories. You know, there's a movie, it's called Spider-Verse. I'm not sure if you guys watched it, but in this movie of the Spider-Verse, you know, there basically is the entire concept where there's one Spider-Man, and he's, of course, in one world, on one Earth, but then for some reason portals open up. In those portals, a lot of other Spider-Mans come in this Spider-Man's reality, and they were all from other universes. They were all living out the same exact life, only they were all in different universes, and they were living out their lives separately, even though essentially they were one thing. Now, I really don't want to make this confusing, guys. It's actually, I mean, it's a cool concept. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Rick and Morty, but it's the same exact thing, you know. Rick and Morty are basically characters in a universe, and there's an infinite amount of universes, which means there's an infinite amount of Rick and Morty. Which means if we are to apply this concept to ourselves, there is an infinite amount of us. There is an infinite amount of Chimmy Q's walking this earth. God knows what she's doing. Hopefully nothing crazy. There's an infinite amount of you doing whatever it is you're doing. And this ties in with so many other theories that I would love to discuss in another video, just so it could be a lot more specific. But let's say I'm living my life in this reality that we're in right now. We'll call this reality A. The reality that I'm in right now, I'm talking to you guys right now, right? I'm recording for my YouTube channel. I'm doing this right now. I am making a YouTube video. I'm talking to you guys. And for you guys, you're listening to this video, okay? So that's the part of your reality. My reality, we'll call that reality A. Now, reality B is a completely different world, a completely different universe where Chimmy Q is doing the same exact thing, okay? When there's an infinite amount of universes, there's an infinite amount of possibilities, okay? So Chimmy Q in this universe, for example, I'm lifting up my Starbucks drink in reality A. In reality B, I probably didn't buy Starbucks, so that could probably be the slight difference. Nonetheless, there's still a completely different reality of a character that is Chimmy Q, which is the same person as me, living out her life in the same way I'm living out my life, only we're separated by realms. Now, as I described before, there are two different kinds of people who reality shift. There are the ones who essentially want to bring a higher consciousness of themselves to their reality. And then there's the group of people who want their consciousness from this earth to be somewhere else, okay? So as interesting as that sounds, just follow along with me because this is how it goes. So we're going to talk about this in groups. That way it'll be a lot easier to follow along, hopefully. But we're going to call them shifters 1 and shifters 2. Now, the shifters 1 are the ones, as I said, they want a better version of their consciousness to be with them in this world. And then shifters 2 are going to be the people who want their consciousnness on this earth to be somewhere else, which I think is the most popular one. Now, both shifters 1 and 2 look at the universe as an infinite universe, okay? Basically, the entire parallel world, the parallel universe theory. There's an infinite amount of us. There's an infinite amount of everything going on. So reality shifters 1 and reality shifters 2 both look at these things in the same way. So how it works, if you're a reality shifter number 1, is you have your current reality, right? And based off of where you want to go, you're going to try to increase your vibrations, or you're going to try to increase your positivity. And then through increasing your positivity, you're going to become more in line with another reality of yourself, okay? So the more and more you become positive, the more and more, you have feelings of gratitude and just, thankfulness and all of this stuff, you shift more to the reality that you want, okay? Let's say there's reality 1, 2, 3, 4. There's an infinite amount, but we're just going to talk about realities 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Reality 1 being the reality that you want to be in. That's the reality where Chimmy Q is a superstar and just, oh my God, she's so famous. Everybody loves her. She's a billionaire. Like, that's my reality, reality number 1. And let's say reality number 4 is the Chimmy Q that is just at the bottom, okay? At the bottom financially, at the bottom mentally, at the bottom emotionally, in terms of success, she's just at the bottom. When I have negative thoughts and I just have negative feelings about life, I am shifting more towards that Chimmy that's in reality number 4, okay? I'm shifting more towards her. And I've obviously, I don't want to shift there. I want to have the same consciousness. I want to have the same amount of success as the Chimmy Q Q that's in another reality. So I'm going to try to have my spirits and my vibrations and all of these things, I'm going to try my best to make them high, okay? So the higher I go in positivity and believing and affirming, the higher I have the possibility of being in tune with that Chimikyu and that reality that is living out her best life that I really want. And I'm over here, guys, I'm not giving my opinion just yet. I think I kind of already did, but I'm just telling you guys the steps so we're all on the same page, okay? So in general, you know, if you want to reality shift, whether you're a reality shifter number 1 or you are a reality shifter number 2, you know, your mind and your heart should be in complete congruence, okay? So your mind needs to know that whatever your heart wants, it's going to come to you. You know, it has to just be on the same level. It can't be on opposite sides of each other, or else it's just not going to work. So that would be step number 1. And then the second step, of course, would be to visualize and have your conscious mind be aware of that part of yourself that you want to incorporate from the other universe. Visualizing myself being the billionaire. Oh my God, I'm on top of the highest building throwing hundreds down. Okay, like that's what I'm envisioning right now. I'm throwing hundreds down the highest building, and I'm living life. Okay, like I'm super rich. Okay, like y'all can't even talk to me. That's just how rich I am, right? The third step, and I would say the most important for, you know, just this entire thing, is faith. As I've spoken about before, you know, your faith, it just has to be there. Your faith has to be unshaken, because if you doubt anything, if you doubt that any of this is false, you are never just gonna get it. You know, you just have to have that unshakable, that unbreakable faith that whatever you're doing, whatever you're attracting from another place is gonna come to you. So for a lot of people who do want to reality shift, a few ways that they try to have their reality shifting experience become more successful is by implementing things like subliminals, meditations, scripting, you know, all of these things. This can increase your chances of being successful in attracting whichever, you know, reality of yourself you want to live out. So there are many different ways to reality shift. If you're a reality shifter number 1, or if you're a reality shifter number 2, I have 4 that I'm going to discuss with you guys. And I think by far these are the most popular ones that I've known about, just from what I've even researched from TikTok, all of that stuff. It seems to be the ones that are the most popular. And number 1 has to do for both reality shifters number 1 and reality shifters number 2. But this is basically the 2-cup method. Basically what it is just getting 2 glasses, right? So 1 glass would be for your current reality, the life that you're living right now. The second glass would be your desired reality, DR. And when we say desired reality, we're talking about the life that you want to attract, right? You have your current reality, you're not satisfied with it, so you want your desired reality. So with the cup that is representing your current reality, you're going to pour water into this cup. And as you're pouring the water into the cup, you're going to then hold the cup and then think about your life as it is right now. Think about what is, you know, the things that you want to change, and just basically just thinking about your current reality, right? Now with the second cup representing your desired reality, you're then going to hold that cup, and then you're going to think about how much you want this desired reality, and you're going to feel how it would feel to be a part of this reality. The way they say it is that you're putting different energies within the cup. Now the cup that is filled with water, which is the current reality, you're then going to pour it into your desired reality. So basically, after you finish pouring from your current reality to your desired reality, you're going to hold that cup of water. You're just going to be super positive. You're going to think really positive thoughts while you hold the cup of water, and then you're going to drink it. Pouring the water is symbolizing leaving that reality and going into a completely different reality. You drink that reality, and then voila, you're starting your process you're starting the process of living in your desired reality. Now for the second, third, and fourth method of reality shifting, this specifically has to do with our reality shifters number 2 and what they're mainly looking for. So a lot of the times, guys, when people are reality shifting, they're mainly, and I think it has to do with age. You can definitely tell, like Gen Z, I don't even know what's after Gen Z, y'all. But, you know, basically, I could say that people who are on TikTok, the main age group that are on TikTok, this generation is mainly focused on shifting their consciousness to a completely different reality, okay? So a lot of them want to go to a place called Hogwarts. And guys, and I know it probably sounds like I'm joking. I'm not. Like, this is genuinely what they're doing. Okay, so there's a place called Hogwarts. I believe it's in Harry Potter. I've never watched the Harry Potter movie before, guys. There's so many other places you can go. There's basically, it's limitless, you know, it's whatever you imagine, whatever you want, wherever it is you want to go, and you know, you want to leave this reality for. They believe that, you know, if you follow one of these three things, or even another method that I'm not going to talk about, it could be one of the ways where you can reality shift. By the way, I'm not trying to make it that I'm teaching you guys how to do this stuff. Okay, please please watch the entire video, guys. Please watch the entire video. If you want to watch it in parts, watch it in parts, but just get the entire information. Don't just choose specific parts. But I'm literally just relaying to you guys like what is being done. Okay, so a way a lot of them choose to drift into another world is, of course, during bedtime. You know, we're asleep basically 6 to 8 hours every night, or maybe even more, so you have, of course, a lot of time to get this done. One of the methods that they use is called the Raven method. Now with this method, you get into a starfish position on the ground, and you have to make sure that none of your limbs are touching, and you count to 100. And while you're counting, in between each in between each number, you're going to say an affirmation. So for example, 1, I am going to Hogwarts. 2, I am shifting realities. 3, this is what I'm doing and I love it. It's good for me. 4, I am going to another reality. 5, you know, stuff like this. This is what basically you would do if it has relation to wherever it is you want to go. And you'll do this all the way till you count to 100. By then, you should feel sensations, which I'll talk about later on, subhanAllah. But anyways, they say you should be feeling sensations, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and then you're in another reality. Okay, so you're in Hogwarts, that's where you are. If you're in Barbie, Life in the Dream House, that's where you are. Now, number 3 is the pillow method. And the pillow method is when you write a physical script of your preferred reality. Let's say Chimmy Q wants to go to a world where she is president. Okay, so in this world, I'm president and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I write a very, very, very detailed script and I put it under my pillow. I fall asleep. And when I do that, I then wake up in my preferred reality. And then number 4, the fourth way, or there's a lot of ways, but the fourth way that I'm going to be talking about, and I think by far this is the most popular way of reality shifting from what I've seen, is the Alice in the Wonderland method. Basically, it's when you lay down on your back, make sure none of your limbs are touching, and you close your eyes, and then you visualize sitting or leaning against the tree. Now, when you're leaning against the tree, you have to visualize a character literally running past you, and you have to then visualize yourself getting up, chasing this character. Now, this character ends up falling in a hole, so you have to visualize yourself too going inside this hole and then standing up and then seeing a door with lights all around it. So after you see this door with light all around it, you open the door and then you see that same character. You're supposed to grab this character's hand, and the character is going to ask you if you're ready. And you're going to tell the character you're ready. You grab this character's hand and you're in your preferred reality. Now, a lot of them too, the part that was, this entire thing is interesting, but another part that I saw to be very interesting as well was, you have to create a timestamp for your reality that you're going to be in while you're sleeping. Because you're in a reality, your conscious mind is awake in a reality while your physical body is on this earth sleeping, okay? So you're somewhere else. Now, a lot of people who do this say it's just a way to lucid dream, and then other people physically believe that they were somewhere else. Their conscious mind was somewhere else. But if your mind was somewhere else, you do have to have a timestamp for how fast time goes by. It's kind of like a Narnia thing. Let's say a lot of the people that I did watch, they said that they would, for example, leave the timestamp to be that every hour that passes by in this world, they're living out 1 year or 1 month or 1 week in their preferred reality. So essentially, if you think about it, they're actually in this place for a very long time. It's crazy how many movies are modeled after this entire thing, but a lot of people describe feelings and sensations of dizziness, tingling, white lights, all of these things. They describe feeling this as they're going through this state, or I guess you could say as they're going into another realm. And then afterwards, a lot of people actually experience headaches, dizziness, flashbacks, and they see reappearing angel numbers, which is very interesting. We'll talk about that another video. They do say that it's expected to feel, it's normal. It means you're getting closer to, whatever reality that you're attracting.
I shifted to Hogwarts. And I can tell you right now, it was honestly the best experience in my life. I was there for 6 months. I was in bed for 6 hours, so I was sleeping for 6 hours. But then in my DR, I was actually in, you know, the wizarding world for 6 months. And that 6 months was honestly amazing. And I really want to go back.
I accidentally looked across the hall, saw myself in the mirror, and got so startled because not only was I wearing completely different clothes, but I looked different too. Like, my face was still pretty similar, but there are things about me that I was like, that's when I started piecing things together, and then time just started to slow down. If any of you have ever experienced derealization, you know, that sensation of nothing being real anymore, I literally got hit with that. I realized that I shifted. I felt euphoric. I have never felt such joy ever.
So basically everyone is still animated unless you script otherwise, of course, but they're three-dimensional. Like, just like this reality, when I turn to the side, I'm obviously not like just a paper on the side. They're not going to be a paper. It's not two-dimensional at all. They are going to be three-dimensional. Everything feels the same. When you touch someone's hand, it still feels warmer or colder depending on if the person is just like a warm or a cold person. People still smell, like the smells still smell the same. Food still tastes like food. It doesn't taste any different. And you flow with the animation style. So if you shift to an animated place and you didn't script that it's going to look like this reality, then you are also going to look animated.
So when you take all of this in, you look at the countless amount of people who experience this and give their own testimony, you know, their own experience, their own story, and you look at just all the works written, whether it's by Neville Goddard or just so many other people that have written about experiences like this. You just try to come to a point where you can logically think about how this could maybe be possible. And the main and reoccurring thing that I've seen, and a lot of people have described it, would be lucid dreaming. And lucid dreaming is basically a dream where you're consciously aware that you're in. So, you know, of course, a lot of the time when we're dreaming, we're not aware of it. But when you're lucid dreaming, you are aware of your dream. Like, you're basically awake in a dream. And I'm not sure if any of you guys have lucid dreamed before. I definitely did. It was actually a super scary experience because I was aware that I was dreaming, but I couldn't physically wake myself up. That was super scary. But that in itself, I think, is a pretty good explanation for the people who are feeling something. Now, in terms of the feelings that people get when doing this, when going through this, as I mentioned before, you know, feelings of dizziness, seeing white light, all of that stuff, subhanAllah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that could be. And I definitely am open to doing more research because I don't want to say what I think it is. I mean, I do. I mean, as a Muslim, I feel like we're all thinking, oh, it's a jinn. I'm sure there's just so much more to it. So I definitely need to research that. But that really blew me away, specifically when I saw all of these people saying that they felt this way after, or even before, or never during though, but usually before or after they were going through this experience. Now, of course, the main part, the meat of this video, the part you guys I'm sure have been waiting for, the part that I'm sure a lot of you guys skipped to. Oh my God, I wish you didn't skip. But anyways, Islam and reality shifting, you know, does it go together? Does it link? Is it compatible with Islam? Well, before I say anything, guys, I want you to know that I am not a scholar of anything. Alhamdulillah, I'm just a person, I'm a layman Muslim who does their best to research and just try to find links with Islam. And I don't force links with Islam. I think that's the main thing that a lot of people like to do. They want to believe in a concept so bad that they're just going to force a puzzle piece to go together that clearly doesn't go together. But I just need to leave that disclaimer, guys. Your girl's not a sheikh. Pray for me. Inshallah, I give you guys the correct information. Now, whether you are a reality shifter number 1 or reality shifter number 2, the main part for both of these positions is the belief in a parallel universe, right? Now, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as other creations, and I'm not saying there is such thing as other creations. I believe that Allah knows best, so I'm not here to disprove that. That's not what I mean by a parallel universe. A parallel universe is basically, you know, another universe coexisting alongside our own universe, right? So it's me living out a completely different life on another universe. When you're talking about it in that sense, which is clearly what reality shifting is, I really don't see any correlation with Islam at all, okay? Now, before I move on, guys, as I say all the time, I'm not a scholar. Feel free to debunk what I'm saying. Feel free to, you know, challenge what I'm saying by emailing me and or by leaving a comment in the comment section below so we can have a healthy dialogue. I don't mind at all. This is a learning experience for all of us, but I'm going to say it again. When I'm thinking about the reality of what a parallel universe is, I'll leave the definition somewhere in the video. And then I'm thinking about Islam. I can't see anything incongruent with Islam and reality shifting. If anything, when I read specific ayahs in the Quran, or when I read, hadith describing when, Allah created the universe, if anything, that leads me more towards believing that there's no such thing as a parallel universe. Everything else, when you think about it and you try to justify it with, I guess science, if that's what you're trying to justify things towards, a lot of the reality shifting, it has to do with theory. Nothing is set in stone. It's all a theory, whether you're talking about the multiverse theory, quantum theory, all string theory, all these things that go into it, it's theory. Nothing is set in stone. Now, as Muslims, we believe in Qadr, also known as, predestination, right? The fact that Allah knows every single thing that's going to happen from the beginning of time to the end of time. This is such a huge part of Islam that, it's one of the 6 pillars of Iman. One of the 6 pillars of faith is the belief in predestination. So Qadr is not taken, as a small deal. It's a huge deal because it's actually a part of the 6 pillars of Iman, of faith, right? Now, going deeper into the topic of Qadr, Allah then talks about, Lawhil Mahfooz. Now, Lawhil Mahfooz, it's mentioned in Surah Buruj, I believe, fi Lawhil Mahfooz. It's a protected tablet. Everything from the beginning of time all the way up until the end of time has already been written, okay? So from when you were born, from when you're dead, from way beyond, from things we know about, from things we don't know about, every single thing has been written in this tablet, and it has been protected. It has never been tampered with. Nothing changes in this tablet. And I know you might think, okay, well, dua is one thing that can change Qadr, so how is the Lawhil Mahfooz not changing? Well, every single thing that you do, whether it's you making dua for something, whether it's you calling out to Allah this amount of times for something, that's changing your Qadr, but all of that already is written in the Lawhil Mahfooz, if that makes sense, okay? Every single thing you do, every single dua that you make, whatever it cancels out, whatever Allah has written for it to be, that's already mentioned. Now, what do you think about the multiverse theory? When you're thinking about a parallel universe and the fact that an infinite amount of ourselves is already being lived out on another universe, on another universe, on another universe for an infinite amount of times, what would then be the point of Lawhil Mahfooz? What would be the point of Allah protecting such a tablet if every version has already been lived out or is being lived out? When you think about a protected tablet, and when you think about the fact that this tablet has things that are already written in it, that has already been determined by Allah from the beginning of time, what I understand from this is that there's one set way of how things are going and how things will go. What would be the point of Lawhil Mahfooz if everything that's possible has already been played out and is already being played out and is already happening? So specifically within the Quran, when we look at Surah Qamar, Inna kulla shay'in khalaqnahu bi Qadr, right? Indeed, all things we created with predestination. Going back to the Qadr of Allah, everything has already been created with predestination. And there's another ayah from, I think, Ahzab. And the last part of that ayah is, and ever is the command of Allah a destiny decreed, okay? So what we get from this is that Allah has already written out our lives and exactly how it's going to go through Qadr. And if you're not looking at it through Qadr, at least when we look at Lawhil Mahfooz, this protected tablet, for me, when I read these ayahs, or when I look at, the tafsir from Ibn Kathir, it's not really showing me, or it's not really insinuating anything that has to do with a completely different reality that's being lived out. If anything, it's telling me that there's this reality. There's the reality that we're in now. And, before even going back to Islam and reality shifting, there are many dangers to this, okay? I found a huge part, especially with the reality shifters number 2, when you really think about this concept, it seems to be promoting the entire idea of disengaging with your reality. You want more than what you're getting in this world, so you're looking for an alternative way to escape, okay? Whether we can call it lucid dreaming, you're trying to find a method of escaping what you already have, which is this dunya, this world. And instead, you're like, okay, I'm going to go in this world and I'm going to live out this dream, So that could actually be very unhealthy because you're actually living in this world. Even the people who do believe in reality shifting, the shifters number 2 specifically, the people who do believe this, believe that you have to consciously not be in this world. You're consciously somewhere else. Or if you're not consciously somewhere else, you're lucid dreaming, which means you're spending less conscious time in this world, in where you actually are, and more time in a space that you've created for yourself. This also, is a red flag to me as well, because it promotes the idea of not being really alive in the reality that you're in. So what are the reasons that people reality shift, okay? Or would attempt to reality shift? Because I think you could kind of sense by now, I don't believe you could consciously reality shift. I don't believe that. However, I do believe people, of course, might be lucid dreaming. Before answering that, when you think about why people reality shift, I think from what I see, it comes from not being satisfied with what you already have. No matter how many times you try to convince yourself you're satisfied, maybe to try to get to a specific point of reality shifting, if you really were satisfied, you wouldn't feel the need to take these measures to reality shift, whether it's trying to bring a higher conscious part of yourself to the world that you're in right now, or whether it's leaving it and being somewhere else. It both could show us that maybe we're not satisfied with what we already have in this dunya or in this world, and that we're seeking something else. And of course, one of my main reasons as well, and I say this all the time after like these new thought videos, but it's not understanding dua and not knowing how to correctly apply dua. Because if we really do understand dua, we know that whatever we want in this world, if it's good for us, by all means, Allah is going to give it to us, right? And Allah gave us a beautiful and amazing method by getting what we want, by making dua to Him. Regardless if it's shifting yourself to Hogwarts, let's say you're shifting your conscious mind to a world where, you're the it girl, or just the world where you ideally would like to live in, or you see yourself as. What would be the point of that when you can make dua and take the proper steps in this world to get it and live it actually physically in this world, Rather, if we make dua, if we make the conscious effort to call out to Allah and tell Him exactly what we want, and we work for it, by all means, why can't this dunya then be enough? So it's definitely something to think about. And one of the most dangerous things, from what I've told you guys, I see a lot of dangerous things. I'm even leaving a lot of things out because I want to make them topics for other videos, but mainly with reality shifting, going back to Neville Goddard, one of the people who are the reference points for things like this, the entire thing is based off of the belief in yourself. And I know it's not done consciously. A lot of this is done subconsciously, but when you really think about the New Thought movement and every single part of it, as much as they want to talk about the universe and all of these things, no part of it has to do with any higher force. It all 100% has to do with yourself and you essentially being your own God. It sounds scary, but literally think about it. Go in the root of this stuff. Don't just take surface level things and you hear something on TikTok, I did this, I did that, so I'm going to follow it. No, like if you go in the history of this stuff, it all revolves around you. You are the creator. Going back to Neville Goddard, for example, one of his main points, it's not about a creator of the universe. It's about you being the creator of your universe. These are the main components of the New Thought movement and of, law of attraction, manifestation, whichever branch you want to go out to. That's the main part of it. And subhanAllah, Islam is a religion where we 100% rely on Allah. We rely on Allah. We rely on God for, whether it's His Qadr, whether it's what He's written and His tablet. We rely 100% on that, knowing that it's what's good for us. Thinking about this entire thing, actually, it reminds me of the story of, the man and the two gardens. I think it's in Surah Kahf. So basically, just in summary, I'll actually leave a link to the entire story so you guys can check it out yourselves. But Allah gave this man a beautiful garden, a really, really beautiful garden. Red flag about this man was that even though Allah gave him this garden, he ascribed it to himself. He was arrogant in the sense where he said that I have this garden because I worked for it, because I did this, I did that, and that was one of the main parts of the story. He didn't add any of that success, or he didn't attribute any of that success to Allah. Rather, he only attributed it to himself, which of course ended in a horrible way for himself. Now, when you look at the New Thought movement, right, putting all of that into yourself, which, by the way, guys, I'm not saying everybody who practices or pulls out a few pieces of the New Thought movement has this mindset consciously. I don't believe people, especially Muslims, go into this conscious, like, no, God has nothing to do with this. No, I don't believe that, because when I used to do law of attraction, or when I used to believe that I manifested this and I manifested that, I honestly wasn't really thinking about that. But then when you really, really look deeply into whatever you're believing, it is you, in a sense, putting yourself on such a pedestal that you're literally making yourself capable of doing so much. Like, subhanallah, I'm the creator of my universe. I could do this. I could do that, Every single thing that we have, everything we don't have, it 100% has to do with what Allah gives us, what Allah has written for us, and what's in, the protected tablets. It has nothing to do with yourself. You could manifest and do all the right steps as much as you want. You're not going to get anything if Allah didn't write it for you, okay? It starts with Allah and it ends with Allah. It doesn't start with you. If anything, yeah, Allah tells us we do our part, we tie our camel. Of course, we have to work for it, but regardless of how much you work for something, your blood, sweat, and tears, it doesn't matter how much you put into it. All praise is still due to Allah in the beginning, in the beginning and in the end. So that's definitely something I see to be very scary of the New Thought movement, reality shifting, all of these things. It's mainly focusing on you being the creator. Now, a lot of people in my comment section, alhamdulillah, I'm actually really happy that a lot of people were able to watch this, because I see that it probably changed the minds of a few people. But I do get comments of people saying that, yeah, well, my intention isn't to do that. My intention is to, when I'm using law of attraction or when I'm thinking about the New Thought movement, I'm obviously thinking about Allah, and then I'm incorporating the New Thought movement as well. I'm here to genuinely ask you, what would be the point? What would be the point of incorporating the New Thought movement? And when I say the New Thought movement, I'm adding the subliminals, the manifestation, reality shifting, law of attraction. That's all within, the New Thought movement, What would be the point of incorporating any of that if we already have something? Islam already gives you the answer to everything, so there literally is no point for adding anything else. That's the part I don't understand, And also, going back to how shaitan works, shaitan is never going to give us a 100% change. He's very gradual. The devil is so smart, guys. He was at this game longer than we think. He was our enemy since day one. He knows what to do. He's not loyal. He's not going to be like, you know what, Chimmy, stop believing Allah and only focus on the New Thought movement. He's going to get you in small increments until literally Islam is not even there anymore. And that is what's scary. That's how shaitan will get you. The story of Barsisa, guys. I'll link that down below as well, guys. And guys, I think also research, this is why research is super important, because things might not look like this in the beginning. As I said, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, I used to listen to Neville Goddard years back, right? And alhamdulillah, everything sounds really good in the beginning. It's all, flowers and roses, you think good, you do this, you do that. When you go really deep into, his works and his books and just what he stands for, it's completely against Islam, okay? Completely against Islam. So subhanallah, Allah saves us from all of this struggle and from all of this confusion if we are to just circle back to the Quran and Sunnah being our main way of getting information and our main way of living out our lives, versus incorporating all these other concepts that you never know, it might not do you any good. Our solution is to understand Allah. Who is Allah? I think a lot of the times we dive deeply into this stuff is because we don't even understand who Allah is, guys. There's so much to Allah. And I would recommend you guys just learning about astronomy, because when you learn about astronomy and just the size of the universe and all that stuff, listen, you're going to be blown away, okay? But really understanding who Allah is and what He's capable of, that is our first step to getting what we want and to living content lives. It's not through anything else. Every single thing that you try to incorporate, you're just going to be leading yourself in a circle. And it's like, the dog that just tries to catch its tail and it never catches its tail. That's literally what I feel it is. The gift that Allah has given us, that has been preserved for us, you're going to get your answer. As I did. I'm trying to go to Islamic references to see what I can get out of that. That is that should be our priority. That should be our main reference point. And if something goes with Islam, alhamdulillah. But if it doesn't go with Islam, we also shouldn't try to force it like a puzzle piece, just try to mend it. At the end of the day, Islam stands alone, regardless of, whatever movement, whatever thought process comes along. Islam stands alone. It doesn't need anything to support it. Islam doesn't need anything to help the cause. It's already there. We can make the choice to then take it or leave it. in short, you know, if we want a better reality, if we want to live better lives, whether it's financially, physically, emotionally, you know, just, or, you know, with connections with people in this world in general, we have to work for it in this world so we can also live it in this world, okay? Like when you escape this world through not through a subliminal, like through the shifting into another reality, even if it were possible, you know, what good is it doing for yourself in the moment, you know? I think when we try to focus on our lives and how we can improve it, it would be a lot better for us to do. Hopefully, I was able to articulate this well. This was a very interesting topic. There, you know, is so much more that goes into it. I'm actually going to try to start an entire series about the New Thought movement, talking about each and every topic and, you know, Islam. And if I've said anything incorrectly, please forgive me. And also, please let me know in the comment section. We could talk there. I'm not trying to give you guys like, what do you call it again? I'm not trying to give you guys like a ruling, okay? Like people ask me in the comment section as well, is this haram? Is this halal? Is this haram? I really try to refrain from halal and haram unless I know for sure it's not halal. Like what I could tell you guys on the top of the mountain is that believing in yourself and not Allah is completely haram, okay? Like, which is what the New Thought movement essentially is. Inshallah, you guys were able to benefit from this video. Please share this with whoever you think will benefit from it. And I will talk to you guys later. Assalamu alaikum.